Kapla, my fellow Star Trek fans. Her. On today's movie review, I'm going to be reviewing a classic Star Trek movie, Star Trek the Motion Picture. Now, this movie, if you're a Star Trek fan, it's either in one of two categories. Either you really, really like it, or you really hate it. Me, I'm among the fans that I really enjoy it, if even for just background noise. My first encounter with Star Trek was the bright television show of Captain Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. Even with the Klingons and the Old West episode, and like it had a lot of cheese factor to it. And when I first saw this movie, I watched it, and it was really, really drab. The color palette was really toned down. So I had a hard time as a kid. I was about maybe 9 or 10 years old when I saw it, but I had a lot of hard time as a kid grasping that this was the same thing as what I watched from the old television show. But when I saw the story and I saw the humanistic side of it, that really kind of drew me into the movie. So I had to watch it several times before I was actually like, okay, now I know where I stand on the movie. The shots are really cinematic. They're really beautifully shot. Up to that point, I think the Enterprise had been like maybe that big as they were filming it and everything. So the detail really wasn't there. But when you sat back and you watched this movie with the wonder of a child, at least from my perspective, because that's what I was, it was just so grand. And I really enjoyed just sitting there watching it. Now, that's been a criticism among a lot of fans because it's like it loops around the Enterprise 50 million times. And I guess to some people, they really didn't need to see that. Now, I've never seen 2001: A Space Odyssey, but a lot of people have compared this movie to that. So I'm not sure if it can be or not. But I do know that it really, out of most of the Star Trek movies, this is probably one of the most unlikeliest as connected to the franchise. It just doesn't fit very well with the other ones. The one thing I do think this movie does, though, is the music score. It's really, really good. Not only the fact that it gave us the Next Generation theme, which would come later on, but everything else, music-wise, with this movie was really, really good. I think just from a soundtrack perspective, like it's worth picking up. It's just really, really well done. It had a lot of great elements to the movie. Visually, it was stunning. Musically, again, it was stunning. And I think that what people had intended to do, which was make this great operatic space movie, was also kind of its fault. What people really just didn't care for. I would say that it does have a spot in the movie that just creeps me the fuck out. Is in the transporter room when they're transporting the Vulcan guy on board, the replacement science officer for Spock. They beam him on board and something messes up. And the scream in that was just really chilling. Like, if you've seen it, like, as a kid, like, it really creeped me out a lot. Because I had not seen a lot of stuff done like that on the television show. And anything that was, like, screaming-wise was kind of cheesed up. For lack of a better word. But this was the first time that I saw something in Star Trek that it just really freaked me out. And I thought it was kind of stupid that Captain Kirk, a guy who doesn't really know the ship at all, is taking over the transporter duties of Rand. Like, I just thought that was really kind of stupid. Like, who the hell are you to take over, dude? I know more than you. Why are you taking over? And then the fact that they lost the guy is just like, what the hell is this guy doing? I thought that was like a really small part of a bigger problem with Captain Kirk. I think the biggest problem with this movie, though, despite the fact that I really, really do like it, is the fact that it's a 20-minute movie that's drawn out for about 2 hours. It's not really, like, there's a lot of filler into this episode. A lot of beautiful Mattel paintings. I think that's how you pronounce it, Mattel paintings. I'm not sure. A lot of beautiful artwork was put into this with V'ger. And it's just, if you take out the filler, you really only have about 20-30 minutes in a movie. There's really just not much there in scope of action and what's going on. It's really drawn out in that regard, which some people really like that, others don't. Me, I like it a lot. Especially when I need something in the background, like if I'm drawing or if I'm cleaning house or something like that's. It's not a bad movie to have in there. Plus, it does have some character development for the characters. There's a director's cut to this movie, and it's a lot more faster paced, and it's edited better. So if you do have a chance to buy the movie, I would recommend getting the director's cut. I've seen the other one, and it's just kind of like, oh god, this is dragging on, and for a movie that's already kind of nitpicked for dragging on, it's just you want to get the better version out there. Now, this edition right here has better effects in it, which it's not a lot of like it's not nothing that's going to blow you away, but it's just like the little things, like when Kirk, Spock, and McCoy are in their conference room thing, like you can see the Enterprise nacelle in the background, and I thought that was just kind of cool, kind of cool visual to have because that's something you don't see very often. This movie is a really, really dark movie in terms of where it takes its characters, and I don't know if that was intentional or I really don't know what they were thinking. It doesn't capture the friendship aspect that the TV show had. It doesn't capture really any of the essence of the crew that the original had. It's more like a dark dream of nostalgia, and I really don't think that was what they were going for in this movie. So if you like dark movies, this would probably if you like dark, slow movies, this is your thing. The dialogue is also incredibly awkward, and it's unnatural. Like, as many times as I've heard Kirk say Spock, it was just, I never really understood William Shatner's cheese factor until you hear Spock. It's really weird. Who talks like that, dude? That's just, it's not even cool. But I guess for the nostalgia factor of having all these characters back, I guess people would overlook that. But again, it's not natural. And Kirk was kind of a prick in this movie, I felt. The things that he did, like I said, the transporter thing, Decker, dude, you don't know the ship. Why are you on there? Granted, you had adventures with this ship back in the day, but this isn't the same ship. And if Decker knew stuff, I didn't agree with Captain Kirk taking, the captain's, or Admiral Kirk taking the captain's chair in this case. It was just dude, you're not needed, especially with the photon torpedo, the phaser fire with the asteroid, warping inside the system and shooting phasers at the asteroid where it could blow up your ship. It's just, the whole thing was just stupid. So I thought, why is Kirk even here? And I thought the whole thing was just idiotic, because, dude, you're acting like a prick to everyone, and this isn't the Captain Kirk that I saw from the TV show. This seems like a really screwed up individual, and it's certainly not someone that I would follow. I think ballet outfits are more durable and masculine than those footy pajamas. I don't know why they changed the uniform, and that's not really my gripe, but my gripe is, why did you change it to those white and gray and browns and beige, and it's just, the whole color palette of that movie was awful with the uniforms. I know the style was the 70s. Maybe that's justification. I'm not sure, because I'm looking at it in hindsight. But when I watch Alien, the movie Alien, with Sigourney Weaver and all of them, it's definitely a 70s movie, but it doesn't look as dated as this movie does. This movie is horribly dated from just those designs of the uniform. So I don't know what they were thinking on that. You really got to scratch your head and go, "What, dude, really?" I think this movie raises a lot of questions about friendship, about what it means to be human. And I think it has a lot of good questions that it wants to ask and that it makes you think about. But because it's such a bad movie to get through, at some points, you don't really know if, you don't really know if, you don't really know what they're trying to get the point across to. That's kind of like me right here, stammering through my thoughts. Um, I just think that they were so worried about the visuals and making this into a great movie that they really missed the mark. Because it's like, it's the simplest things that you should ask in your movie. You know, it's not the ideas that you should hammer over someone's head, and I think that's kind of what they did here. But because it's a bad movie, you don't see any of those questions, and it's poorly done in that regard. So for such a bad movie, which is what I would call this, like I do like it. It's not something that I would start someone off on Star Trek with, and I think that's where they fail it as a movie. I think that's where this movie fails, because you can't start with this movie and go, oh man, I love this movie. I'm a fan. And I don't think it's something that you can watch as, you know, going through the series and then say, well, I'm going to jump to the movies now and start this. Like, I think Wrath of Khan is a much better movie to start off with because it has a lot of the feeling of the TV show, whereas this really didn't. So I would say watch this as more like a documentary or an in hindsight type deal, but I certainly wouldn't start this movie off with, hopes of making someone a fan with this movie. It's not that movie. So watch it at your own risk. If you like this review or any of the other videos that I've done, click and subscribe because I can't grow without you. And keep on geeking on, guys.